there is a cold war between the youngest president in Africa, Ibrahim Traore, and the most educated president in Africa, President William Ruto. On this video, I will take you through every detail on what is happening between these two African giants. Many have seen this war, but they haven't taken it serious just because right now ECOWAS has the final say on what is happening on the West African countries. And if you may allow me say this, ECOWAS commissioner has already given a statement that they are ready to invade Niger anytime from now. While on the other hand, a group of locals in Niger's capital, Niamey, have vowed to recruit tens of thousands of volunteers to fight alongside the Nigerian army in defense of their country, against the backdrop of impending Western-backed ECOWAS military intervention. Residents spoke out openly in support of the recruitment, which is already underway, with thousands signing up. Mothers and fathers vow to do whatever they can to support the country's military in what they call the real fight for our freedom. One woman said, "I will pray for our soldiers. I will cook for them. I will give up my children. And if I have to fight, I don't mind. Our country must be free." And this is why I said earlier that the worst kind of war to engage in is one in which the citizens are the army. How do you fight and win this war? If the aim isn't to ignite the entire region and set it on fire, we wouldn't be talking about war here, because I see another Ukraine brewing on the West African coast. But unlike Ukraine, where citizens ran from recruiters and escaped the country rather than volunteer to fight, maybe because they know it's a proxy war, the Nigerians aren't running away. They're staying back to fight and defend their country. And they have support not just from Mali and Burkina Faso, but from places many people will not believe until the actual war starts. Trust me, if this war ever happens, it'll be the biggest thing that's ever happened on the continent of Africa, because it holds the key to the liberation of the entire continent. And this is why I think that the African countries on the side of the West must think twice before embarking on this potentially ill-fated voyage. I know what I'm talking about. There isn't going to be another Libya on the continent of Africa. You can take that to the bank and cash it. And if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. Let's leave that aside and let me dive into the topic of today. What is happening between Ibrahim Traore and President William Ruto? It's not a long story. Please let me explain. 35-year-old President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso has called for African countries to put their energy on developing themselves. In a report that has been shared by a reliable source of information, it has been reported that young president has stated that as long as there is no development in a country, youths will always leave the country in search of greener pastures. This is happening at the same time when it has been reported that President Traore has stated that any military intervention in Niger by another country is going to be taken as a declaration of war against his country. Several sources have confirmed that the president said this amid claims that France was planning a military intervention in Niger to restore ousted President Mohamed Bazoum back as the president of Niger. Speaking about this, President Traore has stated that any attempt by any country to conduct such an operation is going to be dealt with by his government. They will respond by force. This is happening at the same time when President William Ruto of Kenya has stated that his country, Kenya, is going to support any decision taken by ECOWAS in attempts to restore ousted President Mohamed back to his seat. President William Ruto has also stated that Kenya is against coup in Africa, adding that coups takes countries back to the old days where there was no democracy. Above all, this means that if President William Ruto will dare to touch Niger, he will touch Ibrahim Traore. Anyways, I don't know what you think about all this. Give us your